Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this panel discussion. My entire team at the Knowledge Resource Center thanks you for taking time out to join us. Particularly, I'd like to also thank Shailaja Menon, who has been with us right from the concept stage to the delivery of the entire Children's Literature Fest, and we hope beyond. Rohini Rajgopal and Ramoti Sripada from the KRC team, who have been running around to make this possible, and the extended support that we've had from the entire university and foundation family. Today's panel discussion is, unlike most other KRC events, not going to require presentations from each of the panelists. We are going to have a free-flow question-answer discussion moderated by Professor Shailaja Menon, with the panelists stepping in not only to answer the questions that are posed to them, but also, as we told them, feel free to float in any of their inconvenient stations. This is the trivial question. So to briefly introduce you, I don't think Shailaja needs any introduction to this group. Our panelists represent two ends of the spectrum: publishers who publish literature, as well as organizations that work closely with children to encourage and build the love for children's literature. I mean, it's a wonderfully balanced panel because we have representatives from both ends. I'd like to welcome Diyali Nair from Tulika. Diyali has been an editor with Tulika for about 15 years. And one of the most fascinating aspects of the work that she finds interesting and challenging is, having to work in multiple languages. And I hope that in the course of the discussion, she will share some stories with us about exactly how these challenges manifest themselves. I'd also like to welcome Mala Kumar from Pratham. Mala is an editor at Pratham Books, and before this she's been a freelance journalist. She's written for many national newspapers and magazines on education, design, culture, and so on. She's also an author herself, and she's written for children, so she brings multiple perspectives to this discussion as an editor, as a writer, and as a journalist working in the education space. Apart from these two panelists who are clearly associated with those who publish children's literature, we have Manoj Kumar from Room to Read, which is one of the foremost organizations in India that have been working for a long time to take books to children in very challenging circumstances. Manoj joined Room to Read in 2011 as their program manager, and before that he's worked with Digantar. He's taught language and literature in different colleges and universities since 1996. He's been associated with TIS and many other organizations. So warm welcome to Manoj. We really hope that today, both as an academician and as someone who is actively involved in taking books closer to children, we have a lot to learn from you. Finally, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shiv Narayan Gaur from Eklavya. Eklavya is an organization known to many of us at the foundation. We've been working closely for a long time, and currently Eklavya has a collaborative arrangement with us with all our field libraries and so on. He's an editor in the title development team of Eklavya Publications. And to just give you a scale of their work, they have published around 400 titles to date. And I would say that Eklavya is somewhere in the middle because it's both a publishing house as well like Room to Read. They do go down to work with the communities and actually set up spaces where learning and sharing can happen with the children. So with these introductory comments, I don't want to stand between you and a fascinating discussion anymore. I'll hand over to Shailaja to moderate, and hopefully this will be something you'll all enjoy. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to come here. I'd also like to introduce you to a couple of other guests sitting amongst the audience. There's Parul from Room to Read, there's Suraj from Pratham Books, and there's Geeta, who's going to be conducting the session tomorrow, Geeta Dasgupta from Patara. So I just wanted you to be aware of their presence. She's going to be doing the pictorial storytelling session tomorrow. This panel was organized, this discussion was organized with a few objectives in mind. And the first objective for us, since we are an institution that's really concerned with education, is to understand the potential of using children's literature in education. That's the primary objective. We also wanted to get to know some of the big players. A couple of others are not represented here today, but we will hopefully get a chance to interact with them over time. There's NBT, whose books are on display there, but they're not represented on the panel. There's Scholastic, and there are a few others as well. But here are some of the big players in children's publishing. And finally, given that many of our students here are going to become professionals in allied fields, allied disciplines, we wanted to give them a chance to network with these professionals. So these are the three objectives of this discussion session. So budding professionals, please do welcome and do participate. The way we've set this up is the first, and there are going to be 3 rounds. The first and the third round are going to be relatively brief, and it's the second round that we're going to spend the bulk of our time in. We've also kept some time for audience interaction, and if we get done earlier, you will have more time to interact. So save your questions for the end. We're going to have time for that. The first round is about the background and philosophy to help you to get acquainted with each of these organizations and what they do. So the basic question is, what brought you to the space of children's publishing? As Reshmi said, some of these organizations are more into children's publishing, whereas others are more into using the books that are published in classrooms. What brought you to this space? Could you share a little bit about the history and philosophy of your organization? And they're all aware of each other, so it would be lovely if you all could sort of speak to what is unique about your organization as well as similarities that you may share with the others, and what are your organization's key vision, mission, and so on. So over to Shivnarayan maybe. There's a mic here, okay.
नमस्ते। तो मैं हिंदी में बातचीत कर रहा हूँ। देखा से आप सब समझ पाएंगे और दिक्कत है तो फिर थोड़ी शांति से मदद कर देगा या बाहर आपके साथ थोड़ा बात करेगा। एक लफ्ज़ से क्योंकि आप में से काफी लोग शायद परिचित होंगे क्योंकि किताबें यहाँ आती रही हैं तो उनसे आप वाकिफ हैं। मैं थोड़े से इतिहास में जाऊँगा और फिर वर्तमान की थोड़ी बातचीत करके कहते हैं कि एकलव्य की जो पहचान है असल में आपको ध्यान होगा होशंगाबाद विज्ञान शिक्षण कार्यक्रम से शुरू होती है और ये दौर जो है 1972 से लेके शुरू हुआ था जब इस काम की शुरुआत हुई थी। मैं इसके बहुत गहराई में नहीं जाऊंगा, लेकिन इसमें ये था कि सरकारी स्कूलों के साथ में विज्ञान शिक्षण का एक काम शुरू किया था जो 16 स्कूलों से शुरू हुआ था होशंगाबाद जिले के एक ब्लॉक से, और फिर बाद में 2002 तक आते आते 1000 स्कूलों में मध्य प्रदेश में इस कार्यक्रम का संचालन होता था, जिसमें प्रमुख रूप से 4-5 चीजें थी। एक तो ये था कि परीक्षा पद्धति को चेंज करने का मकसद था, किताबों को बदलना और पढ़ाने के तरीके का बदलना। दूसरा ये कि टीचर्स का और बच्चों का भी करिकुलम बनाने जैसी चीजों में भी पार्टिसिपेशन हो पाना, इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए कार्यक्रम शुरू हुआ था 1972 में। किशोर भारती नाम के एक समूह ने इस कार्यक्रम को शुरू किया था और फिर बाद में 72 से 82 में वो प्रोग्राम किशोर भारती ने बंद कर दिया। उसमें कई तरह की चीजें थी, जैसे असल में जब किशोर भारती का काम शुरू हुआ था तो वो ये चाहते थे कि साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी का ग्रामीण विकास में क्या योगदान हो सकता है, उसको लेकर कार्यक्रम शुरू हुआ था। लेकिन चूंकि विज्ञान पे ज्यादा केंद्रित होते जा रहा था तो किशोर भारती ने उस कार्यक्रम को बंद किया और एकलव्य की शुरुआत की। 1982 में एकलव्य बना है और 82 में जब विज्ञान शिक्षण का वो जो कार्यक्रम चल रहा था उसको आगे बढ़ाने के साथ साथ ही 1 साल पहले क्योंकि जिस इलाके में आप विज्ञान शिक्षण कर रहे हैं कुछ लोगों को लग रहा था कि केवल विज्ञान के आधार पर बात नहीं की जा सकती, सामाजिक विज्ञान की भी जरूरत है, क्योंकि विज्ञान को एक तो समाज से आप जोड़ के देख रहे हैं, लेकिन सामाजिक विज्ञान अपने आप में एक दायरा है जिसमें हमको काम करना चाहिए। तो सामाजिक अध्ययन शिक्षण कार्यक्रम भी शुरू हुआ 1981 में। इसके बाद एकलव्य के गठन के बाद में 1 साल बाद 83 में जब ये 2 कार्यक्रम शुरू हो गए थे तब उसमें एक उसका पूरा हम लोग क्या था कि रिव्यू दौर में करते रहता था कि हमारी सफलताएं और असफलताओं को हम देखते थे और उसके हिसाब से नए कार्यक्रम को लॉन्च करने के बारे में सोचा जाता था। तो जब दोनों प्रोग्राम का इतना समय गुजरने के बाद में 72 से 82 तक और फिर इसका 2 साल के बाद में लगा कि नहीं, असल में मिडिल स्कूल में जो हम काम कर रहे थे, विज्ञान शिक्षण का और सामाजिक अध्ययन का जो कार्यक्रम था वो मिडिल स्कूल में चलाया जाता था। तो मिडिल स्कूल में जो बच्चे आ रहे हैं उनकी पढ़ने की क्षमताएं उस की नहीं थी, तो कॉन्सेप्ट को समझना और भी मुश्किल हो रहा था क्योंकि वो चीजों को नहीं समझ पा रहे थे, पढ़ नहीं पा रहे थे। तो फिर लगा कि कहीं भाषा पे, असल में उनकी अपनी भाषा है लेकिन लिपि के साथ उनका वचन का जुड़ाव नहीं है, तो कैसे उस दायरे को पूरा करें, इसके लिए हमने प्राथमिक शिक्षा में काम किया। और आपने से मेरे ख्याल से खुशी खुशी नाम का एक पूरा सीरीज हम लोगों ने जो विकसित किया, देखी होगी आप लोगों ने, कि कक्षा 1 से लेकर 5वीं तक भाषा शिक्षण में, गणित में और ईवीएस का 3री 4री 5वीं क्लास में। और आपको आश्चर्य होगा कि आप हमारे उस प्रोग्राम का जो 83 में चला था उसका एक डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है, प्राची का नाम से, रत्न सागर ने किताब छापी है। उस किताब को आप देखेंगे तो वो सब बातें जो आप 2005 में एनसीएफ में देख रहे हैं, नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क में जो चीजें आ रही हैं 2005 में, वो 83 में पूरा प्राचिका में सम्मिलित कर ली गई है। तो वो किताब का डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है, उसमें आप देखेंगे तो मुझको लगता है कि इस ढंग के जो कार्यक्रम जो शुरू किए जाते थे, हम लोग जब उनका रिव्यू करते हैं तो हमको लगता है कि कई साल बाद चीजें अलग रूपों में आपके सामने आती हैं कि आज हमारे सामने एनसीएफ आया क्योंकि 10-12 साल पहले एक जो प्रक्रिया चली थी जिसमें इस ढंग के काम हुए थे। और दूसरा इसका जहाँ तक मैं इतिहास की बात है, अच्छा प्रकाशन में आप कैसे आए, वो एक सवाल था इसमें जुड़ाव का। जब हमने चुकी रही थी, जब टेक्स्ट बुक का काम तो चल रहा था, जब हम किताबों के बारे में काम कर रहे थे तो पाठ्य पुस्तकों का निर्माण कर रहे थे, लेकिन उसके इतना कुछ नहीं था। लेकिन प्राइमरी कक्षा के लिए जब हमने काम शुरू किया तो उस समय हमको लगा कि देखिए भाषा शिक्षण में मदद करने वाली सामग्री, एक वो सामग्री जो परिवेश में शामिल है वो भी, और उसके साथ में और भी सामग्री से परिचित कराने के लिए कुछ करना चाहिए। तो 85 में हमने एक चकमक नाम की पत्रिका शुरू की। आपने चकमक भी मेरे ख्याल से देखी होगी, बच्चों की पत्रिका है। और इसके बाद में संदर्भ एक पत्रिका की शुरुआत हुई, शोध पत्रिका की हमने शोध पत्रिका शुरू की, और बाद में 96 से प्रकाशन का काम शुरू किया। ये पूरा जो काम था वो असल में हमारे अपने जरूरतों के मुताबिक शुरू हो रहा था। और दूसरा ये था कि हम जो भी काम कर रहे थे हमको लग रहा था हमारा दायरा बहुत सीमित हो रहा है, क्योंकि आप 50 स्कूल 100 स्कूल में काम कर सकते हैं, 50 गाँव 100 गाँव में काम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन पूरे देश में काम करना है तो बहुत मुश्किल है। इसलिए हमको लगा कि प्रकाशन से की वो चीजें हो सकती हैं जो दूसरी जगह भी आपकी बातों को पहुंचा सकती हैं। तो हमारा जो भी दर्शन है, हमारी जो फिलॉसफी है, जो हम असल में सबके लिए गुणात्मक शिक्षा की बात करते हैं, वो कैसे सब तक पहुंचे, उसके लिए हमने फिर इसका इस आयाम को खोला और प्रकाशन के काम शुरू किया।
थैंक यू।
Hi, I'm Dia from Tulika. Tulika started in 1996. We've been around for 15 years now. And we started with almost the sole objective of publishing books for children that reflect the multicultural, multilingual society that we live in. There are very few of us who speak just one language, but this always is true. And we wanted our books to reflect that. We wanted our books to reflect different childhoods that are here in the sunshine in this country. Make the books as inclusive as possible. This could only be done through publishing many languages. So we publish now, over the years, we started with about 4 languages. We now publish in 9 languages, that's English and 8 other Indian languages, Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Gujarati, Marathi and Bangla. Publishing in languages itself led us into a different kind of a journey which sensitized us to a whole different section of society than we would have if we were publishing only for English. And that has been a growth, very enriching and a challenge for us. And bilingual publishing is the other USP which we really had. I think we're probably the first bilingual publishers in the country. We started our first 2 books for bilingual, Line and Circle and Number Birds. And we told at the time, this is suicide. You're starting publishing, you're starting with something called bilingual, what on earth is that? Why are you getting into Indian language publishing? But what we felt was English book. A lot of us who grew up in the English medium in whichever mother tongue we had, were always underprivileged. They were always shoddy. Very nice books, very nice stories, but badly published. And we wonder why. Every Indian child has a right to have a book in his or her mother tongue, which is as attractive and on a par with any English book. That's our philosophy, and that's how we started. We've grown our range, now covers from, it starts with picture books, of course, and our focus is mainly picture books because they're not, publishing picture books is actually quite difficult, if I may say so. It's much easier to publish paperbacks rather than give a picture book, and that's doing it in translation. All our picture books come in many languages. We pay a lot of attention, as much attention to illustration as we do to text and to the translation. We work very, very closely with illustrators and translators because each language, each book is as important to us. So we have picture books, we have bilingual picture books, we have a whole range of categories within the picture book category, including myths, word books, which are transcultural kind of books, which we use word words with which we explain foreign concepts to a young child. You don't want a glossary. No child is going to go to look at a glossary to see what something means. It's family. So we have a system called a word word, in which there's a word on the page. So we're using perhaps, if the story is from Gujarat, we're using a Gujarati word. Or if it's from Kerala, we're using something like Uli Chamandi, which flows with the story. There's Namanipuri Amma who is living in Uli Chamandi. And so what is Uli Chamandi? The little bird on the page, which is part of the illustration that explains it. And we were also told, okay, with Namanipuri Amma became an interesting point, if I may say so at this time, is because it's very fundamental. Names, okay? If you had names like Raju and Ramu and Bablu, it was accepted. If you had a name like Amikuti Amma or Shanmugam for a lion, people said, what? How can you have a lion for a Shanmugam? How can you have a camel called Kamalan? That's how they were. And we found that children love it. They have no clues. Their minds are so open. It's the adults who prevent them from just responding to this kind of but a man is natural. Why can a lion not be conscious of it? So, but this is just to give you an example and to illustrate what our philosophy is. Why we publish what we do. And we have, of course, non-fiction, which we find there is a paucity of good non-fiction, creative non-fiction in Indian publishing. So we pay a lot of attention to that. We do paperbacks, we do classical translation. There's a whole range. I'll stop here.
Thank you. So, hi, namaste, namaskara to all of you. How many of you are full of life right now, full of passion? Hands up. I know it's after lunch, but hands can go higher. Okay, great. And how many of you want to sort of make India a reading country, place where everyone is educated, everyone is healthy, everyone is happy? Yay! So we are there too. And how many of you want to do something now? I want to do something now to make all this happen. No. Yeah, great. So back before 2000, there was a group of such people, and they wanted to do something. So they met in a slum in Bombay, and they decided to teach the slum kids how to read and write Hindi. They were very successful, and within a couple of years, all the kids in the slum knew how to read and write. And then came the problem. They had nothing to read. They were enrolled in schools, but the schools had textbooks which were very drab, which were good, but they were drab. Children were not interested, they couldn't read, and they just had nothing to read. So that's when Pratham Books was born. So the same group of people with fire, they decided to start Pratham Books. The first books that came out were very simple books about I go to school, I feel a bird, I see a fan, and things like that. Very simple, but believe me, they were very well received by children who had never seen anything in color. They lapped up these books and they wanted more. And then they went to the shop, they looked at these books, turned it around, and saw, "Arey baap re, 50 rupees, we can't buy this." So then the second step came in, where the same group with a lot of fire, a lot of passion, and a lot of ideas decided to somehow make the cost of the book very low. So now they had to do color books, they had to do quality color books, and they had to do colored quality affordable books. So that was a lot of work. But again, they used creative solutions and they came up with a range of books that were affordable, that were colorful, and that were set in India. This small group also decided and found that they couldn't do all this alone. They were too small a group, and they were all in different jobs. They were doing it as part of their passion after work. So they decided that the best way to do it would be to bring in a lot of others with like-minded thoughts into this project. And that's how Pratham Books, as an NGO, has spread out, basically because it has the goodwill and the passion of a lot of people across India and above, beyond. So Pratham Books, since 2004, we've brought out 235 books, and in up to 11 languages. So all these books are available in at least 5 languages, many are available in 11 languages. The reason being that English books and Hindi books are generally available in the mainstream markets and the bookshops, but language books are not available. To reach every child in India, you had to speak to them in a language they knew, that they were comfortable with. And again, it was very, very huge challenge we've all been discussing, and we realized that 11 is too small a number. Hindi has maybe hundreds of dialects, Kannada has thousands of dialects, and if you count the number of dialects the children know, and if we had to bring out books in all those languages, I don't think we'd be able to publish even one book a year in India. So what we've all been doing is to bring out books in as many languages as possible and increasing the languages every year so that more and more children have books in their own languages set in India as far as possible. Pratham Books also has experimented with things like creative commons, where a book gets published and then everyone buys it and then they forget about it, right? We know about books like this. It stays in the bookshops or it just stays in the godown. So what do you do with books like these? We decided that such books could be put out on Creative Commons. That means you make it free to the world. Anyone can take that book, do whatever they want with it. They can translate it into any language, they can sell it, they can do anything actually with it. So what happens is that many more people who are not part of us, we don't even know them, but they've taken these books, converted it into Braille, converted it into DAISY format, converted it into audio format, and children all over the world are using them because they're available. So at Pratham Books, we all feel that we need, all of you, we need a lot more people. We need people with passion and knowledge, which you have here, and the knowledge in the research sector. So we're hoping that at least many of you will get into publishing and make this movement larger, and that you'll all be here to see that there's a book in every child very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaskar, I am Manoj and I work with Room to Read India now and in publishing team. So the way Room to Read came in this area of literacy, we have a story to tell. Long back in late 90s, one American professional, Mr. John Wood, was trekking in Himalayan region of Nepal after a very hectic work schedule as usual. And just incidentally, he visited a school with a government official in Nepal. And the principal of the school was very, he is a sort of quite enthusiastic person, and he showed him everything. And after showing the school, he just showed him a library. And the way you grow up, you take certain things for granted. And as an American kid, John would have different idea of library and books. And what he saw there is a set of books which was in lock and key, and books which he found there is like some books from Lonely Planet, other books which is meant for adults and all that. Then he realized that this is not the kind of library one could expect in a school, primary school, and a kid. And then the principal said, we are, the resource crunch is so much that book is something sort of luxury for us, especially storybook or something beyond a textbook is not something which we can afford. This is a sort of luxury. So we are struggling with teachers, number of teachers, we are struggling with textbook, we are struggling with actual teaching learning material, and he had different idea of teaching learning material, of course. And when they parted, the principal as usual said, come again and come this time with some books. And then this professional realized that, being a curious tourist, will he be able to keep his commitment and come to the school, same school again with certain set of books. And as usual, lots of soul searching, you can read his book, he has written a book on this. And then he just wrote a circulator and email to his friends in America and everywhere. He was working with Microsoft, he was senior professional, of course. And then he got lots of books donated by many more people, and his father helped him. One person in Nepal, Mr. Dinesh Sesht, who was working with Lions Club, who helped him to get those books to the library. So there this story began. And then he started donating books, creating libraries, and with lots of, enthusiasm and passion, he went back to the same school, established libraries, kids were really happy, and then he left the job and started establishing libraries in Nepal. So that way Room to Read started with name Books for Nepal. Then one more person who has same passion for books and kids and literacy and all those issues. The people I'm talking about, they were not, and they are not actually experts on literacy. So they had certain intuitive sense of what school libraries should look like and what literacy, how literacy should happen in a school. So then they started a program in Vietnam. Then this name Books for Nepal was not appropriate. Then they came up with this new name and organization called Room to Read. So Room to Read is mainly known for, we are known for establishing libraries in schools. So in a sense we are end user of books. In India we are working since 2003, and we have now almost 5,000 libraries in government primary schools. And approximately 2,500 libraries which is functional, where Room to Read is actually working. So we support a school for 3 years. After 3 years we just withdraw, and we assume that effort, school will sustain those efforts. There are certain challenges around that also. So we have established 5,000 libraries in India, and then 2,500 is active libraries, which we call that, where our people go and visit those schools. So while doing this, procuring several books, we faced several challenges. Like, this is one small thing, that books should be issued to kids. Books should be checked out, and usually the book, the way it looked like, this is so costly that teachers are not very keen to give those books to kids. So Room to Read initially faced lots of challenges how to assure that these books gets issued to kids. And then after running this program for 10 years, we realized that we have lost 3 books in Madhya Pradesh. One was torn away by some animal, and other is something. So out of thousands of libraries, we just lost 2 books. So we had certain assumption about our kids, that our kid will destroy those books. Teachers has certain assumption, but these things takes time. So getting these books used by kids, this is a sort of challenge which is there. Then in the course of this book donation program, people realize that this is not enough to have good children literature in library. You also need age appropriate and culturally appropriate books. So you may need different sets of books in different countries. And this culturally appropriate book and age appropriate book is actually a loaded term, which will come to this probably in the next round. But this was the idea that we also need to publish certain things, so that way we came in publication. And Room to Read actually publishes just for our own, just for its own library. So whatever we publish, we make sure that this will go to library, this will be used by kids. And we also procure books from other publishers like Tulika, Eklavya, Pratham, and Scholastic and other books. So this is briefly a story of Room to Read. Probably in the next round we'll.
There's certain commonalities that have come up. I hope you've also picked up on that. For example, the issue of culture, language, all of that. We'll get more into that in the second round. Also the issue of affordability and over and above that, access. Can children access books? It's not just that libraries and classrooms have books, but that children are actually permitted to use the books and have access to it in that way. So these are some common themes that these people have brought up, and I'm sure that all of them have faced it in some way or the other. So we'll go a little deeper into the themes that they've raised in this next round. Where, there are several questions here, and I don't necessarily think that we need to go in sequence. These are questions about the significance of children's literature to education. That's the broad question. But in that, this issue of multicultural, multilingual, age-appropriate, also content, do they develop books that can be used in tandem with certain content, for example, math or science, because, NCF says we need to go beyond the textbook. But if we have to go beyond the textbook, are there also children's literature that can help us to go beyond the textbook? So that's one question. The fact that, you publish all these books, but as several panelists have brought out, they may not be used very well. So I'm really interested in knowing whether each of these organizations, runs any programs in schools, in communities, in classrooms for teacher education. Do they run programs like that? Do they network with other non-formal organizations that work with schools and teachers to help them or communities or parents that help build a reading culture as well as teach teachers on how to use this as a pedagogical tool in the classroom? So these are some of the questions. Feel free to meander around it and feel free to address it in some depth because we are giving the bulk of our time to these questions. And also feel free to address each other.
सवाल है बातचीत में मैं जब अपनी बात रख रहा हूँ तो उनके जवाब कहीं कहीं आते जाएंगे और जहाँ आपको लग रहा है कि ज़्यादा बात करनी तो आखिर में जो समय होगा सवाल जवाब का उसमें हम बात करेंगे। इससे ये था कि जब हमने प्रकाशन का काम शुरू किया था तो उस समय जो एक प्रमुख चीज हमारे सामने थी वो ये था कि स्कूलों के साथ काम चल रहा था हमारा। तो स्कूल सब कुछ नहीं है, स्कूल में सब कुछ नहीं हो सकता, तो वो हमारा एक सोच थी और हमको लग रहा था कि स्कूल से बाहर भी काम करने की जरूरत है। तो स्कूल के अंदर और स्कूल के बाहर दोनों जगह काम कैसे किया जा सकता है, इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए हम लोग प्रकाशन का काम अपने हाथ में लिए थे। क्योंकि हमको लग रहा था कि क्लासरूम के बाहर जाना है तो प्रकाशन ही एक जरिया हो सकता है। मैं आगे अपनी बात रखूंगा तो उसके थोड़ा जो खतरे होते हैं उसकी बातचीत भी आएगी। एक तो देखा कि जो क्लासरूम वाली भी बात कर रहे हैं, बात इसमें है कि आप लोग सीधे जो भी काम कर रहे हैं उसको लेके दो तरह के काम हम लोगों के होते हैं। एक कम्युनिटी के साथ में जो शिक्षा प्रोत्साहन केंद्र के नाम से होता है। मध्य प्रदेश के 6 जिलों के लगभग 200 गाँव में हम लोग वो कर रहे हैं। एक जगह है जहाँ 2 घंटे के लिए बच्चे इकट्ठे होते हैं और उसमें पढ़ने का, खेलने का गतिविधियां संचालित की जाती हैं। और उसमें हमारा असल में वो एक तो ये होता है उसका प्रमुख कि पढ़ने के प्रति रुचि कैसे जागृत हो। दूसरा एक होता है कि पढ़ना जो है परिवेश से कैसे जुड़ पाए, उसका हम बहुत ध्यान रखते हैं कि वो जो चीजें हैं जो मुझे लग रहा है कि इसमें इसका एक सवाल भी है, कहीं जो सवाल देखें आपके सामने उसमें से है कि तो हम लोग उसका ध्यान रखते हैं कि उनकी कल्चर और उनके परिवेश से जोड़ के चीजों को शुरू करें ताकि उनकी पढ़ने की आदत बने और वो फिर उस जगह भी जा पाए जो उनके पास सामने नहीं है उसको पढ़ पाए। तो तो इसका हम एक प्रयास इसमें करते हैं। उसके कुछ उदाहरण मैं दूंगा अभी आगे आपको, एक चीज को सामने रखते हुए। कुछ किताबें मेरे पास हैं जिसको दिखाते हुए भी। दूसरा, हम जो भी जो काम कर रहे हैं इसमें बाहर के व्यक्ति इन्वॉल्व नहीं होते हैं। तो एक उसी गांव का कोई व्यक्ति उसको संचालित करता है, केवल एक फैसिलिटेट करने की, चीजें उपलब्ध कराने की और बीच में कभी जाके बातचीत करने की की जिम्मेदारी हमारी होती है। और इसमें जैसे मैं अभी थोड़ी देर पहले हम लोग एक बातचीत में शामिल थे, यहाँ बात कर रहा था कि जिन जगह पे हम काम कर रहे हैं उनकी अपनी जो भाषा है, जो असल में नॉन मेनस्ट्रीम लैंग्वेज है, जहाँ काम करते हैं, जैसे गोंडी भाषा है, कोरकू है, चिदन की जो बुंदेलखंडी है, बघेलखंडी है, मालवी, निमाड़ी, जिस इलाके में हम लोग काम करते हैं वो है। अच्छा, किताबें इन भाषाओं में उपलब्ध नहीं होती हैं, तो हम कोशिश भी करते हैं कि हमारी जो किताबें हैं, हमारी अपनी जो किताबें हैं, कुछ दूसरी किताबों के बारे में भी प्रयास हमारा होता है कि वहाँ का जहाँ भी संचालित हो रही है। अभी मनोज भाई बीच में चर्चा में कह रहे थे कि जो बोलियों का मुद्दा है उसमें तो उसमें हम बात कर रहे थे कि जहाँ तक बोली जो होती है वो तो हर 10 किलोमीटर में बदल जाती है। तो उसके लिए किताब छापना बहुत ही मुश्किल और संघर्ष का काम है कि आप कितने तरह से किताबें छापेंगे। तो कुछ एक चीज आप मानक मान के काम करते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए हम एक और रास्ता निकालते हैं। हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जो लाइब्रेरी हमारी जैसे 200 गाँव में लाइब्रेरी चल रही है और जो जिसके बारे में शिक्षा प्रोत्साहन केंद्र जिसको कह रहा हूँ, कम्युनिटी के बीच में जो चलता है, उसमें उन किताबों का जो रुचिकर किताबें हैं, जिनको लग रहा है एकदम शुरुआती किताबें होती हैं, उनके टेक्स्ट जो है वहाँ के अनुवादन करता है, उसकी जो भाषा है उसमें अनुवाद करवा लेते हैं और उनकी पट्टियां लगा देते हैं किताबों में। तो वो जो किताब है वहाँ उनकी उस बोली में पट्टियां होती हैं, ताकि उसको वो किताब जो है दोनों तरह से उपलब्ध है। वो आपको उसकी लिपि जरूर देवनागरी, क्योंकि बाकी जिन भाषाओं की बात कर रहा हूँ उसकी अपनी लिपि नहीं है, तो इसलिए जो हिंदी जिस लिपि में लिखते हैं देवनागरी में हम लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं। अच्छा, एक बात और कि हमारा जो प्रकाशन का काम है वो उसकी 80% किताबें हिंदी में है। हमारा ज्यादातर काम हिंदी की किताबों के साथ है। बाकी जो 20% हिस्सा है उसमें हम लोगों ने अभी कुछ अंग्रेजी में छापना शुरू किया है। कुछ हमारी अपनी कुछ किताबें थी जिनको हमको लग रहा था कि अंग्रेजी में होनी चाहिए, जिनकी मांग थी, वो हमने अभी शुरू किया अंग्रेजी में छापना। कुछ किताबें हमने दूसरी भाषाओं में कुछ अलग अलग समूह के साथ शुरू किया है। जैसे मराठी में कुछ किताबें हम लोगों ने छापी, वो जब तीसरे राउंड में हम बात करेंगे तब मैं उसकी बात करूंगा कि उसमें हमने क्या प्रयास किए हैं। तो एक तो हम ये करते हैं कि वो सामग्री को अपनी भाषा में किताबें बना सकें लोग, उसका एक चीज होती है। दूसरा जैसा कि किताबों की जो प्रक्रिया है, अच्छा तीसरा इसमें एक और होता है कि लाइब्रेरी वाला हिस्सा हम लोग गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के साथ कुछ प्रयोग कर रहे हैं। हालांकि रूम टू रीड ने जितना काम किया है लाइब्रेरी में उस ढंग का हमारा काम नहीं है। हमने अभी कुछ शुरू किया है लाइब्रेरी का, कुछ गाँव में करती थी, लेकिन अभी मध्य प्रदेश के 2 ब्लॉक के सारे सरकारी स्कूलों में लाइब्रेरी शुरू करने का हमने इसी साल कुछ काम शुरू किया है। और उसमें भी होता है कि हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि फिलहाल तो शिक्षक संचालित करता है लाइब्रेरी को, लेकिन लाइब्रेरी में शिक्षक की भूमिका, शिक्षक उसकी भूमिका से बाहर हो जाए और बच्चे खुद संचालित करने लगे। वो इनका रूम टू रीड ने भी वो प्रयास किए हैं कि वहीं के मतलब बच्चे संभालने लगे, जो पढ़ने आ रहे हैं वही लाइब्रेरी संभालने लगे। तो वो प्रयास एक तो हम कर रहे हैं। दूसरा हमारी कोशिश होती है, इसमें मतलब कोशिश नहीं है बल्कि होते जा रहा है, हो रहे हैं अभी, कि पेरेंट्स का इन्वॉल्वमेंट। क्योंकि एक तो होता है पढ़ने की जो आदत है वो विकसित हो जाए किसी तरह से, तो बड़ा कारगर चीज है कि फिर आपको अलग से कुछ कहना नहीं पड़ता है। एक तो पढ़ना, एक सीखना एक बात है कि पढ़ना सीखने की प्रक्रिया ये, और दूसरा ये कि फिर पढ़ने की आदत हो जाना। और इसमें पेरेंट्स की भागीदारी हो रही है अनायास, कि बच्चे किताब घर ले जाते हैं और फिर पेरेंट्स भी देखते हैं किताब को, और फिर पेरेंट्स जो है असल में जिन लोगों के साथ हम काम कर रहे हैं इन क्षेत्रों में, वो फर्स्ट लर्नर है। तो उनके घर से कोई स्कूल में नहीं गया वाला है ना, कि वो पहली जनरेशन है जो स्कूल में जा रही है। तो उनके घर में जब किताबें जाती हैं तो उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट होता है। चित्र देख के वो उनकी रुचि होती है कि वो किताब के बारे में समझे, किताब के बारे में वो जानना चाहते हैं। तो वो हमको लग रहा है कि बड़ा काम है जो हम नहीं कर रहे हैं वो हो रहा है कि बच्चे दूसरी किताब बुलाते हैं, बच्चे वो मतलब पेरेंट्स जो है बच्चे से कहते हैं कि कल और दूसरी किताब लेके आना, और साथ में साथ पेरेंट्स भी पढ़ रहे हैं, जिसको पढ़ना नहीं आता वो अपना कहानी बता रहे पढ़ रहे हैं। इनका जो काम इसमें हो रहा है कि खुद लिखने का एक हिस्सा, जैसे हमने एक कोशिश की है, जैसे मैं कह रहा था कि एक तो है कि उनकी भाषाओं में सामग्री को उपलब्ध कराना, दूसरा कि उनकी कल्चर को कैसे हम लेके आए, तो हमने भी वो कोशिश भी की है कि उनके अपने जो मौखिक जो कहानियां हैं उनका संकलन निकालने का ही काम, और उनको दोनों तरह से, जैसे एक किताब है यहाँ पे रखी हुई, आप उधर देखेंगे तो काफी मेजबान जो है ये किताब बुंदेलखंडी कहानियों की है, इसमें 12 कहानियां हैं जो वहाँ के जिस गाँव में हम काम कर रहे हैं बच्चों के साथ उनके पेरेंट्स ने सुनाई, तो उनके पेरेंट्स की कहानियों को संकलित करके हमने किताब को तैयार की। और ऐसे हमने 2-3 पिक्चर स्टोरी बुक्स भी बनाई, जैसे खिचड़ी एक है, एक गीत का कमाल, दोनों बुंदेलखंडी कहानियां हैं, और उन बुंदेलखंडी कहानियों को फिर किताब के रूप में लेके आने की एक प्रक्रिया। तो इसमें अच्छा एक और होता है कि मतलब जो परिवेश से जुड़ाव की बात जो होती है उसमें था कि जैसे मान लो खेल गीत एक बड़ा अच्छा माध्यम है जिसके साथ बच्चों को जोड़ा जा सकता है और पढ़ने की आदत विकसित की जा सकती है, वो हमने किया। और जैसे वो जो खेल गीत गुनगुनाते थे, जैसे मैं असल में कुछ पावर पॉइंट की कुछ स्लाइड बना के लाया था, लेकिन वो थोड़ा सा चूंकि डिस्कशन ऐसे टुकड़ों में है इसलिए उसको दिखाना मुश्किल होगा, तो इसलिए मैं ऐसे बातचीत कर रहा हूँ, नहीं तो मैं आपको दिखा के ही बात करता। जैसे खेल गीत का है, मान लो यहाँ पे एक अक्कड़ बक्कड़ नाम की किताब रखी है, जिसमें केवल 2-2 लाइन के 2 लाइन के केवल गीत हैं, और ये वो गीत हैं जो उन बच्चों के लिए महत्व के हैं जिनको पढ़ना आते ही। एक होता है कि कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू रीडिंग वाला जो हिस्सा है उसमें एक काम की हमने कोशिश की है कि उनका जो संदर्भ है उससे वो पढ़ने की तरफ जाएं। तो वो कैसे हो सकता है उसका एक प्रयास है। दूसरा, शिक्षा का भरोसा हो पाए बच्चों पे। आमतौर पर होता है कि जैसे किताबें बड़ी शिक्षा के पेरेंट्स दोनों के अंदर वो एक चीज होती है कि किताब फाड़ ना दे बच्चा, गंदी ना कर दे, वो एक डर, तो हम उसको निकालने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो बच्चा फाड़ दे किताब, गंदी कर दे, उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। इसलिए जैसे हमने कुछ किताबों को ऐसे भी किया है कि कुछ किताबें हमने रंगीन नहीं छापी, ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट सिंगल कलर है, बल्कि लाइन आर्ट का इस्तेमाल किया है। जैसे जो अक्कड़ बक्कड़ की मैं बात कर रहा था, अक्कड़ बक्कड़ किताब आप देखेंगे तो वो लाइन आर्ट में है, उसमें केवल ये जो है और बस इतनी बड़ी होती है, मैं पानी, मम्मी मेरी रानी, पापा मेरे राजा, फलना राजा, और एक तरफ ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट चित्र है। तो बच्चा क्या करता है कि चित्र से कोड करने लगता है टेक्स्ट को, और जिसकी हम बात भी करते हैं कि जो हम पूरा भी हो रहा है कि जो अक्षरों से पढ़ाने वाला एक दौर था ना, जिसको हमने तोड़ने की बहुत कोशिश की है कि बच्चा तो भाषा सीख के ही आता है। असल में 6 साल के बच्चे के पास भाषा संपूर्ण भाषा होती है, उसको कुछ सिखाने की जरूरत नहीं होती है, केवल ये क्योंकि उसको लिपि नहीं है जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, वो एक फर्क किस्म की चीज है। तो उसको हम जोड़ने का एक प्रयास की उसके अपने परिवेश से वो कैसे शुरू कर सके। तो इसमें आप देख रहे हैं कि चित्र जो है ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट, रंगीन चित्र नहीं है, उसे जानबूझ के रंगीन नहीं रखा गया है। इसमें होता है कि इसमें वो अपना चित्र भर के और हर किताब को अपनी किताब की तरह से तैयार कर लेता। तो बच्चे को जो किताब है वो अपनी कैसे लगे, उसमें अपनापन कैसे आए, उसका एक प्रयास हमने किया है। और इसमें मतलब एक और जो चीज है असल में, जिसका हम जब शायद उम्र वाली बात आप इसी में कर रहे हैं ना, हाँ, उम्र का जो मामला है, इसमें हम अपनी किताबों में किसी भी किताबों के साथ में उम्र को दर्ज नहीं करते, क्योंकि एक तो हमारा मानना है कि कोई हर बच्चे के लिए, कोई भी किसी बच्चे के लिए कोई भी किताब उपयोगी हो सकती है। जैसे मनोज जी अभी आप अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कह रहे थे कि किताब में पलटना भी पढ़ना है। किताब यदि बच्चा पढ़ रहा है तभी असल में वो पढ़ ही रहा है, कुछ तो अपनी कहानी कर रहा है ना, देख रहा है जो भी कर रहा है। तो वो जो स्पेस होता है, तो उसका हमको लग रहा है कि जिसे उम्र वाला मसला था उसमें हम थोड़ा सा, इसलिए आप देखेंगे कि हमारी किसी भी किताब में उम्र का जिक्र हम नहीं करते। अभी थोड़ा सा होता है कि वो मांग होती है पेरेंट्स की और टीचर की, उम्र को कैसे करें, कैसे वहां दर्ज किया जाए। अच्छा, कुछ चीजें तो होती है जिसमें उम्र को मानना जरूरी होता है। जैसे मान लो हम कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट की स्टेजेस को थोड़ा सा ध्यान में रख के बात करें, तो शायद हो सकता है कि उम्र का एक दायरा, क्योंकि कॉन्सेप्ट बनने का एक मतलब होता है कि कितने कॉन्सेप्ट उसके पास होंगे बच्चे के, वो एक चीज होती है। लेकिन उसमें भी फिर हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि उम्र को या तो हम ऐसे, जैसे आप देखेंगे हमारा एक डिटेल कैटलॉग है, यहाँ पे रखा है, और काफी नहीं लेके आए हैं, पर 20-25 कापी उसमें से आप चाहें तो ले सकते हैं। इसमें आप हमने देखेंगे एक भी जगह उम्र को नहीं करके ऐसा लिखा है कि जैसे नव सीखे पाठकों के लिए, पढ़ना सीख गए बच्चों के लिए, पढ़ने की आदत विकसित करने के लिए इस तरह की कैटेगरी बनाई। उस कैटेगरी का हमने थोड़ा ध्यान रखा कि अच्छा इसमें हमने कैटलॉग भी तैयार किया कि बच्चों के लिए, छोटे बच्चों के लिए किताबों का, उसमें हमने दर्ज किया 3+ कैटलॉग, यानी कि बाहर की सीमा जो अपर लिमिट है उसको नहीं बांधा, नीचे की सीमा को बांधा है 3+, कि 3 साल तक कम उम्र के बच्चे के लिए शायद उसमें किताबें बहुत उपयोगी की नहीं होगी, और 3 साल का बच्चा आपकी किताबें पढ़ के देखेगा भी नहीं कि उसके लिए है कि नहीं, वो तो जो किताब देखना है वो देखेगा, है ना। तो वो एक हिस्सा है। दूसरा जो क्लासरूम वाला मुद्दा था उसमें
कहाँ 1 or 2 minutes में?
ठीक है, मैं 3-4 मिनट।
हाँ ठीक है।
तो इसमें असल में जैसे क्लासरूम में हम लोग अभी क्या करते हैं कि कुछ पोस्टर्स जो है उनका इस्तेमाल खूब करते हैं। यहाँ पे आप देखिए वो भी सब ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट पोस्टर, ताकि बच्चा अपना कलर कर सके। उसमें सबसे बढ़िया एक जो परिणाम है वो जो होता है कि जैसे एक ही पोस्टर आपके सामने लगा है, क्यों जी बेटा राम सा है, इतनी जल्दी कैसे आए, अभी तो दिन के 2 ही बजे हैं, तो वो आजकल बड़े मजे हैं। 4 लाइन बच्चा पढ़ता है तो वो रोज वही लाइन नहीं पढ़ता, रोज पोस्टर देखता हुआ है लेकिन लाइन अपनी पढ़ता है, और उसका हर बार संदर्भ अलग अलग होता है। जो हम लिटरेचर के लिए कहते हैं कि लिटरेचर साहित्य की क्या विशेषता है, साहित्य की जो विशेषता है, साहित्य का जो नेचर है वो तो वही है कि वो हर व्यक्ति के लिए अपना होता है, अलग, उसके मायने अलग होते हैं। जो कहानी मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ वो हो सकता है कि वो आप जब पढ़ेंगे तो आपके लिए उसका कोई और अर्थ होगा, मेरे लिए कुछ और अर्थ होगा। तो वो इसमें बच्चे को कैसे मिल पाए उसका हम ध्यान रखते हैं, और उसको भी करेक्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हम उनसे कहते हैं कि आपको जो लग रहा है वो जब गुनगुनाते हैं तो उनको हम लिखवा भी देते हैं या कोई लिख लेता है। तो ऐसे बच्चों का फिर हमने उनको भी किताब के रूप में, किताब की शक्ल में छापने का एक प्रयास किया। जैसे जो डेमरू देख रहे हैं वो सारी रचनाएं बच्चे की है, जो 6 साल का बच्चा है, 7 साल का बच्चा है, 8 साल का बच्चा है, और ऐसी एक किताब है, 4 किताबें हैं जो वहाँ पे रखी हुई है, जो दूसरे एक हमारी पत्रिका में, हमारी 3 पत्रिकाएं हैं, चकमक हो तो संदर्भ आपने देखे हो, तो चकमक में 4 पन्ने इसी लिए होते हैं बच्चों के लिए, इसमें उनकी रचनाएं होती है, तो वो एक चीज होती है। अच्छा, दूसरा एक जो बात मैं कह रहा था कि असल में एक असली जो खतरा है जिससे हमको बचने की शायद जरूरत है कि ये जो टेक्स्ट बुक नाम का जो चीज है ना वो बच्चे को डरा देती है। टेक्स्ट बुक बड़ी डरावनी चीज है, और उस टेक्स्ट बुक के डर से बच्चे को कैसे बाहर निकाले वो एक बड़ी चुनौती है। मतलब मैं आपको एक जरा सा एक उदाहरण देता हूँ। हमारे एक मित्र हैं जो प्रोफेसर हैं भोपाल के कॉलेज में, पत्रकारिता के कॉलेज में पढ़ाते हैं। उनने क्या हुआ कि अपनी बच्ची के लिए किताब ले गए घर में, और किताब ले जाके उससे उन्होंने कहा कि बेटा हम तुम्हारे लिए कुछ लेके आए हैं। तो उसने कहा क्या लाए पापा? तो उसने कहा कि किताब लेके आए। तो उसने किताब देखी तो उसने एकदम डरते हुए कहा पापा मैडम क्वेश्चन पूछेगी इसमें से। यानी आप देखिए कि बच्चे को एक कहानी की किताब देखने में भी डर लग रहा है कि वो इसको पढ़ेगी तो ऐसा तो नहीं कि इसमें भी सवाल पूछे जाएंगे। तो ये जो टेक्स्ट बुक ने जो पूरा करके रखा ना, जबकि आप देखेंगे कि एनसीईआरटी जो है टेक्स्ट बुक एक टूल की तरह देखने की बात कर रहा है। टेक्स्ट बुक कुछ नहीं, टेक्स्ट बुक तो एक मदद के लिए है। तो मुझे लग रहा है उसमें हम कैसे जाएं वो शायद जरूरत है। अभी समय होगा तो फिर मैं कुछ बात करूंगा।
नहीं, दोबारा जरूर आएंगे। दिया?
What would you like to focus on children?
Really, whatever speaks the most to you, since you said that Tulika's one of the reasons you came into being was this multicultural, multilingual piece. Maybe you can talk about that. And you were also telling me earlier that you're making an effort to publish for older children. So maybe you can talk a little bit, and whatever else that you would like to add.
Okay, the first distinction perhaps, I should not get a distinction, but given the kind of others in the panel, that we are publishers. We only publish books. We are not into outreach in the way Igadia is, or Street is, or Pratham Sister Pencil is. We publish, and we publish the books that we thought should be available in the market for children, should be available for children. No matter what anyone said, and people at different times, no matter that the market was not ready for it when we started 16 years ago, but we just continue to publish the kind of books we did, and happy to say that they are now being read and being acknowledged, and CNC has chosen Oxford as English are very active kind of books. They're not the usual supplementary reader or that kind of book. They are very exciting, and what we thought was, we're not sure if this is going to move at all, but it's a series called Where I Live, which picks up a child from an environment. We have one who's a fisher boy from Tamil Nadu, Nation of the Sea. We have Tina in University. Tina is a baby boy's daughter, and these are real children. So they come with photographs. The latest one we did is postcards from Ura, which is a little boy in Sikkim or Bhutan. These are the kind of books that have been chosen and are being seen as books to read and enjoy. So as publishers, we don't really take it to the classroom ourselves, but we do network with a wide range of non-governmental institutions, literary, hippocampus. Eklavya, of course, publishes a lot of our books in Hindi, and Pratham takes a lot of our books as well in their outreach programs. But apart from these kind of programs and non-governmental organizations that use our books in the classroom, a very interesting novel way that our books are now getting into schools is the theatre. We've had theatre groups. There's one in Bangalore, Rafiki. I don't know if you all have heard of Rafiki, who picked up our Aditi series and said they should go. And approached us. We used to go to them. They said, can we give us permission to convert Aditi into plays? Then sort of take off from there, not just dramatize, but take off. And these are pitched exclusively at schools and have been amazingly successful. So we have Rafiki in Bangalore. We have a group called Gillo Kinelli in Bombay, who've taken Hanuman Ramayana and done it in an authentic style. So we are dying to see what they've done with it because it just sounds so exciting. And the group of really, I can't remember the name, but they too are taking our books and performing in schools. And so basically, you can have a multi-pronged approach to pedagogy using books or books in the classroom. You can work at any level. Through theatre, through novel supplementary readers, through recommended lists, whatever. And of course, what Book to Read especially does in very good measure, very extensively, actually taking books and working with children in the classroom, working with teachers in the classroom. We have a teacher's resource, that's a separate classification that we have, resource books, which are meant for parents, teachers, facilitators, whatever, which are specifically pedagogical, so to speak, we don't see it like that, and they are creatively done so. Language, now you wanted me to talk about multiculturalism in our books. I was talking to you earlier about verbal books, and that's one, it's been a very convenient and a way which we came up with, if I may say so, to take multiculturalism into a book. If we're talking, you need to represent different parts of the country. You want to keep the flavor. If it's a story from Tamil Nadu, you want to keep the Tamil flavor. How do you do it? You're translating it into Hindi, into English especially, where you have problems with script. You can't transliterate many words from Tamil into English or from another language to another language. These are all challenges that we face. But even so, and there was a question, we were earlier interacting with people, librarians that the non-resource center work with all over the country. And what's the question? What did you say about the gaps?
Are you talking about the one about the context that Sandarbh nahi hai? Yeah.
They need to see their children want to see their own reality in the books they read. Now, Shailaja came up with a very nice term, which is you need to have books which are windows and books which are mirrors. I thought that was quite good. And so, yes, you need to see yourself in the books you read. You also need to see the world, the rest of the world in the books you read. And what else can I say? Except that we specifically under the name Train, which is written, the original is in Telugu. And that's another thing we do. We like to take stories, we welcome stories in, original stories in other languages, whichever language, and then translate that into English so that we can translate that into the other languages we work with. Anyway, so this Under the Name Tree was in Telugu. None of us in Tulika is very familiar with Telugu. One or two can sort of understand, but this Telugu story which the author herself translated into English for us, and we polished it up and sent it to translation. And then it was, we ran it by one of our regular Telugu translators in Chennai. And she said, what Telugu is this? This is not any Telugu, this is not Telugu that we speak, and it's not Telugu that is going to work. You know, people are going to buy a book in Telugu like this. And we were wondering why, because we realized that there is a stark distinction in language. And this was perhaps a more, we did see a lot of motives that were, well, of a very different background or mahal, so to speak. We had, because there is, in the story, it's about a storyteller woman in a village who is telling a story to a child. So the story within the story. And while she's telling the story, her drunk husband comes in, drunk as usual. And the woman herself is smoking a baby, and the husband is drunk. And we did wonder, okay, the children, do we show drunk husbands? Do we show women smoking babies? But that's how the story came to us, and clearly this reality exists somewhere. We decided to go with it. And a lot of translators said, how can you show men who are drunk, you're talking to children? Yes, I mean, that is not something we're dismissing, but we took a conscious decision to go with it. But the language issue surprised us, and we realized that possibly this is a subsect of a dialect Telugu that is not mainstream. And so some of the expressions were perhaps a little cruder than regular Telugu speakers would like. And so what do you do? Whose reality are you going to show? So we opted, how many realities exist in India? Exist in, if you're English speaking or you're Hindi speaking, like you were saying, how many kinds of Hindi? So whose reality are you going to show? So these are very complex subjects. So we go with gut feeling, we go with instinct, and we show what, we may draw a line somewhere. But by and large, our philosophy is that there is virtually no taboos in literature for children. It just depends on how it is posed. And a certain sensibility, a certain sensitivity. Is there anything else?
No, that's fine. You can pass it on. We can come back later if there's time.
All right. So, books in children's literature in the classroom. I'd like you all to go back to the classroom, not this classroom where anything is allowed. It's allowed, but to your school classroom. Are you all there now? You're there? Okay. Last benchers, wake up please. Or are you reading a book? Are you reading something which you should not be reading? Okay. So this is something, this is a scene that we've gone through. This is a reality we've gone through. And therefore, I don't need to stress that children's literature is definitely welcome in class, even if the teacher says no. So children's literature, social, whether you think of it as a social group, an emotional group, or language skills, it helps in all those. And anyone who reads books probably gets a lot more of all these kinds of development in their life, earlier, faster, better. So there's no question about whether we need or don't need children's literature, we don't need it. But the problem in India is, like everyone's been saying, in what language do you do it? In what language do you deliver this literature? Well, we like to do it in as many languages as possible. That again is the only way to reach many children. What we've also found is that most of the literature that comes to us, and I'm using the word literature to mean any manuscript, good, bad, ugly, that comes to us is generally in English or in Hindi. And sometime back, last year, we got a script which was very simple, very sweet. It has a little puppy and it finds everyone asleep and all that. So I'm going to tell you the story and then come back to the next part of it. So story time now. First half, I'm not going to say because it's a book that hasn't been published, so I'm not going to let out. The second half with Suraj's permission because he's been working on that book. Okay? Alright. So the second half goes like this. The little puppy goes and sees the other animals in the barn and barn. Not farm, barn. So it goes there and the little puppy, he sees the cow asleep, this asleep, the dog asleep, the sheep asleep, etc. etc. And then he talks to his mother. Again, I'm going to read that bit out. And finally, end of the story, mommy says, good night child, or good night doggy, or good night puppy, whatever, I've forgotten that. But she says, good night, and there's a happy scene, a big moon, smiling moon, and everyone asleep, and all that. Right? End of story. At the end of the day, when you're at home, what do you say? To your parents, to your siblings. What do you say? Good night. Good night? No, nothing. You don't say anything? You're not staying with your mommy or you're not talking to her? Okay. What do you say? What do you say? Good night. What do you say? Good night. So that's because we all speak English, we all learn English, and somehow the word good night has come into our lexicon in our day-to-day life. And also now we have another word in Hindi because of Amitabh Bachchan and Karol Khanna. कौन सा है वो? शुभ रात्रि. लेकिन हम घर में कोई शुभ रात्रि तो नहीं बोलते ना, कोई भी नहीं बोलते. But suppose I have to, and we have done it, when I had to translate this book or get it translated into Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, can you imagine what we went through? Because without good night, that book just fell flat. There had to be a good night. You can do this when you're doing, few languages, but if you're doing many languages, you can't. Do I have a minute?
Yeah, a minute.
So I also wanted to talk about, the other thing I wanted to talk about was languages and how, like she said, like Kalika, we want people to write in different languages. As I said, we usually get it in English or Hindi, but if people were to write in their own languages, then it would be so much better. So I hope any of you here who wants to write in whichever language you know, if you could write a story, it will be lovely.
Manas, before you pass on the mic, you should address the age-appropriate segment of it because your books are certainly not the age kind of specific.
Okay. So we started, when we started out, thanks Geeta, so when we started out with saying preschool, middle something, and then advanced reader. And then we changed it, we started putting age groups 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 10 to 12, something like that. And again we realized that that wasn't the way forward because a 10-year-old child may be bad at reading but very good at understanding concepts. So, and also he may be very good at English, he may be very bad at Kannada. So the same book, he would be able to read it in English but not in Kannada. So then we came up with this matrix called readability level. So I am level 1 in Kannada. I at this age can only read level 1 book. So I am a level 1 reader. Dia here is a level 4 English reader because she can read everything in English. So by our terms, she's a level 4 English reader. And I don't know Manoj too well, but probably somewhere level 3 in Hindi or English. So what we've done is we've made the reading levels, the basis of the book, the categorization of the book is based upon how well the child can read. So if a child goes to the library, picks up a book, if he can read the red book, that means he's good enough for that level, he can go to the green level. And if he can't read the red level, then he better come to the yellow level books, the books with the yellow box. So that's how we categorize. I think we'll come back and now give Manoj a chance to talk.
Yeah, I'll just address a couple of questions here because we have less time. Probably the first one, the way we try to, train our teachers for library and we ask them to consider 5 years old coming to grade 1 who doesn't read all the letters, Hindi letters or Telugu letters. You also consider that kid as a reader. So then we are probably stretching the very notion of reading. and we have particular notion of reading which we need to challenge. Like in university, I mean, the way we consider reading is a sort of skill which is either accomplished or not accomplished. Though the reading itself is a sort of skill which is in continuum. I know master students, myself being a master student, like, we struggle when we read 3 different papers on same issues. And when our teacher, asks us to come with 3 readings, doing in 3 days, and come up with certain summary or something, it's challenging for us. So, in a sense, we are still trying to, we are learning to read. We are learning to read in a certain way. And now consider the different, with the other side of the continuum. A kid who is coming in grade 1, someone who cannot read or decode all the letters, still we are asking teachers to consider that as a reading. So we believe, and like many other experts says that there are several things which helps you in reading. Like you have one thing called decoding, like letters and you can join letters and sounds and all that, and you can decode a text and read it. Then you also take cue from semantic, meaning. If you know the context, then probably you can come up with certain ideas of what is represented in a book. And third thing is like syntactic. You know that this is the place. If you are reading in English or Hindi, you know that this is the place of accent word. So if I am saying Ram Aam, then probably you will say khata hai ya sungta hai. Something like some verb will come there. So all these 3, and probably the 4th one, pragmatics, everything helps you in reading. So if we consider this reading and we try to stress this notion of reading, and then we can say a teacher, look, the child is coming to your school with lot more capability than you consider. They don't, maybe a child doesn't know to decode, but he has certain semantic understanding of the context, certain syntactic understanding of the language. If the language in a school, in a classroom, and language at home is same or similar, then probably lots of syntactic background is there. So you can capitalize on that. So if we consider reading as a skill which develops in continuum, then probably we'll come up with very different notion of reader. If we take this idea of readership, then probably we'll take children literature in a very different way. Children literature or literature itself is not something which has just instrumental value. I personally feel very offended being a student of literature when somebody considers literature as a sort of instrumental thing, which is sort of sugarcoat. You want to inculcate certain habit of reading through a storybook so that kids can read a sort of science fiction or sort of science or some curriculum related activity. This is not something which. This is not the way to look at children literature. Children literature has certain inherent value. Like all the stories you read, they provide you with certain framework. You have several facts, you have several experiences, and you are trying to narrate a whole story. And if a kid is trying to narrate a whole story in a classroom, it has value in itself. So this debate should, we can look at this question in a very different way also, that children literature is, yes, it has value, it has inherent value. Maybe if you inculcate the value of reading, then probably you will also read. So Room to Read, typically we focus on 3 things. One is skill development, second is habit of reading, and third is culture of reading. And this is the problem in our organization anywhere. We just try to categorize things without realizing that these 3 things are very linked to each other. So we have 3 different programs for 3 different things. So this is something which we are struggling with and we are trying to converge. And we have one program called library program that is for habit of reading, and then one program for literacy development which is called literacy instruction program, and sometimes they don't talk to each other. And we are sitting somewhere in the middle in a book publishing program. We say, look guys, this is not 2 different things. Probably they reinforce each other and they come together. So this is my response to the first question. We don't work so much on multilingual thing because Dia and Mala has shared a lot more experience. We publish so far in Hindi, Telugu and Bundelkhandi and several other languages. And everybody is saying that there are so many realities in India. So this is one challenge. From the other side, you have different challenge. I mean, we invite stories from Andhra Pradesh. I mean, we ask our field team to collect stories from Andhra Pradesh. And sometimes we get same didactic story from Andhra Pradesh and Delhi. So there is a problem of homogeneity as well. There is a problem of difference, and probably we can address that, we can celebrate that difference. But what to do with this problem of homogeneity, that people just think it's not a problem, but sometimes you just feel we need something different. We are going so far and we need something different, something less didactic. Yeah, please.
Usual, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting that you're making this observation that universally the same story appears from China and Russia and Bengal and South India. So it's hardly a problem. They're just told in different versions.
Yeah, so this is one way of looking at things, like you have certain universal element coming in with different cultures. But then if we are treating child in a similar fashion in Andhra Pradesh, and we are just looking at child from above, like we just try to teach something, just try to be so didactic while writing for kids. So I'm talking about that kind of challenge, and which is so homogeneous, which is in Delhi, which is in Andhra Pradesh, which is in several other places. Yeah. So yeah. What else? Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time. There were many other questions that I wanted to ask as follow-ups, but I also know that we need to get to the third round, because I feel that that is where you all must be you must be waiting for, because many of you have asked me in class, what do we do, how can we join this kind of effort, and I do want to be sure not to miss out on that. So apologies for cutting round 2 short. This is, if you want to become a professional in this field, this is your chance to basically hear from our panelists on what it takes to become a professional in the space. I would especially like them to talk about how they take new people in and train them. Maybe you have in-house training programs, or maybe not. And maybe you could consider developing certain programs for people who are not yet your employees, but sort of publicly offered classes or programs. If you could speak to that, and if any of these people want to join you, how and what can they do? Maybe we'll start from Manoj and go back.
Well, so far we don't have any organized program for people coming to Room to Read and getting trained there. But yes, we do have, and we encourage people to come and visit our libraries and see how we work there. Look at library manual, the kind of books we publish. So we are open to that, but so far, Parul will add if she knows something. I don't know any program, any organized thing where we are struggling with our own field team. Because this is a huge program in a sense that lots of people, working in different libraries in very different contexts. So how to get them know that what are the objectives of this program and everything. So probably we need people to come to Room to Read and support us rather than we supporting them. But yes, whatever we have been doing, we are ready to share. One good thing is, like, we are not constrained by any market or something. We publish whatever we feel we should publish. So in that way, we are ready to share experiences, but this is a growing organization. As I said, everything started with certain intuitive understanding of literacy and library and books. So we are still learning. Yeah.
All right. So anyone here who wants to read, who wants to write, who wants to engage with children, who can illustrate, who can translate, who can review, please send me a mail and you've got a job. Okay? Of course, you have to do it very well. Very clever? Yes. Nothing else matters. We won't even look at your CV. We won't look at where you come from, all that. We welcome interns. The problem is that we have a very small team and we really, we're working a lot all the time, so hand-holding and mentoring के लिए time is sort of limited, but if you're with us, you'll just learn on the job. So every year, for the last 2 years, we've been inviting people, or at least we take it, whoever writes to us and shows a keen interest in the work we are doing. So if you're interested, yes, we take in interns for 2 months, or if you're looking for a longer term, that would be excellent, because a book usually takes maybe other, I think you wanted me to talk about publishing as a career. Now, publishing involves all kinds of people. It involves editors. I'm talking about people in the publishing company itself. So editors, proofreaders, reviewers, graphic designers, art directors, all these people are required in the publishing field. So anyone who has any particular interest in this, definitely there's room for them. Also, there's something called content management and content creation. So it's not about writing. So even if you're not a good writer, not let's say not a good writer for children, but if you have ideas and concepts that you think should reach the child, that requires a certain packaging, a certain way of putting. It has to be put down in a way that can be fleshed out by a good writer. So even if for people who are good at this, there's room in publishing. Most of the work that we do, most of the people who work with us work freelance. So which means they're all on different jobs. They're doing many things, and one of their projects will be a project with Satsang. So for instance, the Good Night Illustrator, who I like very much, she may be at the same time working on different books for different publications, or she may be working at an ad agency because she has a good sense of color, style, hitting the reader with one line or stroke. So freelancers are welcome in this field, and all over the publishing world actually freelancers are most welcome. Because most people in the publishing line are supposed to be creative. We're all supposed to be creative, very creative. And because we are creative, we have moods, and because we have moods, we throw tantrums, and because of all that, we can't stick to the same place for a long time, right? So, which means freelancing really works for us. If you are good at doing one project on time, that's good enough. Next project, really, right? But it is a very good field, and I'm happy to say it's an emerging field. It does well. It's doing well in India. There are a lot of young people in this field, and I think they're enjoying it. They're very professional, also very quick. Sometimes they're so quick, they finish a book and we take a year to publish it because we have to get it translated into many languages and all that. But they finish it and the next week they say, when only gets published, can I do another book for you? So we have to apply the brakes at that time. But yes, welcome to our field. If you are, as I said, if you're interested, do send in your request and let's see. We'd be very happy to share whatever we've learned, and we'd be happy to come and talk to you another time. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and
Just
Manoj wanted to add one.
Just one thing, when we organize workshops for emerging writers, every year through 2-3 workshops for writer and one workshop for writer and illustrator. So any one of you, if you are interested, you can just send your. Usually in Delhi, but sometimes in Bhopal as well. Yeah.
Mine is coming down from practical points. I would like to bring in a few abstract but very essential requirements to get into publishing the kind of work that we do. I would say passion, idealism, coupled with some very practical things such as meticulousness and huge diligence in production. It's not easy to produce children's books, especially across so many languages, where each translation that you do, you want it to be class, quality, not literal in the sense, but absorbing flavors of the language. All of that, it takes a lot of input. And if you have to have the passion, you have to have the patience to hang in there and believe in what you're doing. That's how it's worked for us at Eureka. It took us a long time, it sounds, I don't mean to sound patronizing at all, but we were pretty pioneering in those days. There wasn't very much achievement happening. And it took us a long time to create the market, create a niche, but we did it just by hanging in, just by making books available. So you really need these things in good measure and ability to yourself. We had internships very regularly at Eureka, so we had internships. A a lot in design and illustration. People who come in, we had a lot of kids from Trichy, from NID, from IDC in Mumbai, and other kids who come in and return with us, a lot of them do their project with us, or they just want experience in children's illustration or book design, they come. We have some editorial interns, marketing. It's very, very niche marketing, for children's books. It's a whole different ballgame. It's not like selling things that you would learn usually in marketing setup. So if you are interested in books, in children, in things that go with these, then you are there's good potential for marketing. And it's a really emerging field, as Mala was saying, both the publishing and the design. The design became numerous people writing to us for design. And we can't accommodate everybody, but anyone is ready to, is most welcome to come and try.
How long do these internships run for?
They could be, if you want to illustrate a book, it will take you at least, unless it just happens. Sometimes it just happens. An illustrator has come and she's got maybe a 2-month internship or a 3-month internship. She takes 2.5 months on one book, just not getting it, and in the balance 10 days, she said, can I just try something else, and she gets the next book just like that. So it just depends, but they vary from 2 months, 3 months. I would think the minimum is 2 months. But do we do?
Some have, some colleges now, design colleges, they have specified internship.
Yeah, they have specified internship periods.
To be extended.
And there are also a lot of people who are interested, young people interested in illustrating children's books, who just on their own, they write to us and say, we just want to do it, can you give us a chance? And we're always very happy to try fresh people, fresh minds, young minds, a lot of energy there.
Thank you.
एकलव्य के पास भी कुछ तो सही हैं जो माला जी और रिया कह रही थी, लेकिन हमारे पास एक और चीज है, हमारे पास प्रयोग के लिए 3 पत्रिकाएं हैं, जगमग स्रोत संदर्भ, खूब स्पेस है। आप में से जो भी लिखना चाहते हैं, जो भी चित्र बनाना चाहते हैं, डिजाइन करना चाहते हैं, हर तरह का स्पेस उसमें है। और आपको बताएं कि जैसे आप बाजू में हमारे इधर आएंगे स्टाल पे आप देखेंगे बहुत सारी चीजें हमने जो डेवलप की हैं वो इन पत्रिकाओं से निकली हैं। मतलब मैं अभी जो आपसे बात कर रहा था कि कुछ मैं स्लाइड की बात कर रहा था, उसमें हम अपने जो व्हीकल की एक बात करते हैं कि हमारे व्हीकल जो है हमारी पत्रिकाएं हैं जिनके जरिए हम असल में खड़े होते हैं, वो हमारे पास प्रयोग का मंच भी है और उससे किताबों का रूप, मैंने वो आपकी कहानी जब आप चकमक में देखते हैं और हो सकता है कि आपको 6 महीने बाद या 1 साल बाद वो किताब की शक्ल में आपको मिले, तो वहां तक हम ले जाते हैं। तो मेरे ख्याल से एक तो हमारे पास मंच है चकमक स्रोत संदर्भ का, तो आप उसमें लिख सकते हैं हर स्तर का, बच्चों के लिए लिखना है तो चकमक है, शिक्षकों के लिए लिखना चाहते हैं थोड़ा, तो उसमें भी प्लानिंग हो सकती है कि आप किताब के रूप में उसको डाल सकते हैं। इवन कुछ किताबें हैं जो चकमक के संदर्भ में सीरीज में लिखे गए आर्टिकल का कलेक्शन है। तो मेरे ख्याल से यदि आप प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं कि आपको 1 साल में कोई किताब लिखनी है, तो आप ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं कि आप 4 बड़े आर्टिकल जो थोड़े गहराई वाले होंगे वो लिखें, वो आपके पास जाएंगे, आपको फीडबैक भी मिलेगा क्योंकि एक बार पत्रिका में छपे हैं तो आपको उसमें निश्चित रूप से फीडबैक प्राप्त होता है, आप उसको किताब की शक्ल में ले जाते हैं। तो एक तो वो हमारे पास मंच है। दूसरा हमने कोशिश की थी कि CCL नाम का एक फॉर्मल ग्रुप बनाने की कोशिश की थी, जो इसके कुछ प्रयास सफल हुए, कुछ हम असफल हुए, अभी भी हम उसका सोच रहे हैं कि उसको कैसे आगे बढ़ाएं। जिसमें आप आए चिल्ड्रंस लिटरेचर है, तो चिल्ड्रंस लिटरेचर सेल एक बनाए थे जिसके 2006 में हमने एक बड़ा सेमिनार भी किया था, काफी सारे लोग उसमें आए थे। तो वो हम करते हैं जिसके जरिए जो भी काम करने वाले लोग हैं उनके सीधे एक बार मिल सकें।
आप लोग एक कोर्स भी डेवलप कर रहे थे ना चिल्ड्रंस लिटरेचर पे?
हाँ। का एक हिस्सा था जब हमने वो चलाया तो कुछ हम वर्कशॉप करते थे। दूसरा हमारे प्रयास था कि कोर्स के रूप में उसको बनाएं, हालांकि वो अभी तक कुछ हो नहीं पाया उसमें। तो 2-3 आइडिया थे जो अभी आइडिया लेवल पे हैं, हो सकता है कि हम बाद में करें। जैसे हमारा एक हिस्सा था कि एकदम जो नए काम मतलब शुरुआती काम करने वाले लोग हैं जो डिजाइन की फील्ड में जा रहे हैं, इलस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हैं, तो उनको ऐसे प्रोफेशनल के साथ फिर से रहने का मौका मिले जो ऑलरेडी स्थापित हैं। जैसे हमने प्लान किया था कि अतुल राय के साथ हम 15 दिन का कोई डिजाइन का एक कोर्स करेंगे। जगदीश जोशी जी के साथ एक कोर्स करेंगे जिसमें कोई 5 नए लोग होंगे और जगदीश जोशी जी उनके साथ 15 दिन रहेंगे, वहीं रहने वहने सब कुछ का हो और मतलब मस्ती के साथ सीखना, वो हमारी कोशिश थी। अभी भी वो प्रपोजल है कि हम उस पर काम कर रहे हैं और हो सकता है कि 6 महीने बाद या साल भर बाद उसको कोई रूप हम दे पाए। एक तो वो है। दूसरा हम लोग कुछ फेलोशिप का होता है, लेकिन वो बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है। जैसे एडिटोरियल फेलोशिप हम देते हैं पर वो 2 लोगों को या 3 लोगों को ही दे पाते हैं, तो हम उसमें कुछ स्टाइपेंड जैसा भी देते हैं, तो इसलिए वो उसकी लिमिटेशन है कि हम बहुत नहीं दे सकते, पर वो है। तो आप में से कुछ लोग यदि एडिटोरियल के उसमें आना चाहते हैं तो वो है। डिजाइन के लोगों के लिए इंटर्नशिप का भी एक हमारे पास जगह है, जिसमें एनआईटी, ट्रस्टी और कुछ छोटे कॉलेजेस में से भी अभी लोग आ रहे हैं, तो उनके लिए भी थोड़ी गुंजाइश बनाने का एक है अनुवाद के लिए। एक अनुवाद भी बड़ा काम है सर, जिसमें हमको लग रहा है कि जो देखा जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो बड़ी चुनौतीपूर्ण काम भी है और जिसमें बहुत काम की गुंजाइश भी है। तो मेरे ख्याल से आप यदि उसमें देखें तो वो एक बहुत दायरा बना हुआ है, उसके प्रयोग भी हमारे पास उपलब्ध है कि आपका कोई अनुवाद करने का है, आप हिंदी भाषा से, मतलब हमारा चूंकि दायरा हिंदी है तो कोशिश होती है कि किसी और भाषा से हिंदी में, जैसे आप मान लो यहाँ पे कन्नड़ जानने वाले लोग हैं, कोई अच्छी कहानी कन्नड़ की है और आपको हिंदी भी आती है, आप उसको हिंदी में करना चाहते हैं या आप अंग्रेजी में कर सकते हैं, तो उसका आपको इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है। तो मेरे ख्याल से वो एक दायरा खुला है जिसमें आप फ्रीलांसिंग के रूप में हमारे साथ काम कर सकते हैं। दूसरा, उसके हम आउटसोर्सिंग ही कर रहे हैं। अभी हमारे पास भी ट्रांसलेशन का इन हाउस काम नहीं होता, तो हम आउटसोर्सिंग कर रहे हैं, तो वो पूरा खुला हुआ है। एक पूल भी हम बना रहे हैं, बहुत सारे डिस्ट्रिक्टर का एक पूल बना सकें कि आप हमारे पास में यदि जैसे अभी एक यहीं पे कोई एक साथी है प्रियंका गोस्वामी, जिनका मेल आया था कि वो कुछ काम करना चाहती है, तो हमने कुछ उनको भेजा भी कि हमने, हमारे पास क्या होता है किताब से पहले जाने का भी चूंकि गुंजाइश है, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमको किताब पे काम करना चाहती हूँ, तो हमने एक उनको आर्टिकल भेजा भी पत्रिका का कि वो इस पे काम करें, और वो चूंकि हमारे पास आएगा, छपेगा, तो उनको भी फीडबैक मिलेगा। तो मेरे ख्याल से वो एक चीज है जो दी हुई है। तो आप सबका स्वागत है, आप जो भी इस फील्ड में आना चाहते हैं तो हम मिलजुल के काम को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं।
Since we're talking so much about languages, and this is a the accent is a multicultural, multilingual function, it probably goes without saying, but it's an important thing to say, that you need to have a passion for and a ear for language. And we find that when we read a text, we look at a text far more closely when we're looking at it for translation, much more than even the translator version. Or if you were doing it in a single language. There are so many things we keep in mind when we're looking at the text. We're looking at the local flavor, how it will translate into other languages, getting the balance right. And the other thing is that we're working with other languages. I don't know so many languages. We publish in 9, out of which I think about Hangul. And maybe I'm a Bengali, so I know Bangla. I know Hindi. My grammar is not very Hindi, but I know the sound of it. I know when something is not sounding right. It could be translated better this way. So that here, it needs to be honed. It needs to be fine-tuned. To what language sounds like, to be open to different idioms and language. That's very important. In order to language creation as well.
Thank you, thank you. I'm sure you'll be hearing from many of our students soon with all your warm invitations. With that, I want to conclude the contribution of the panelists in a monologue form, and I want to open it up for discussion and dialogue with the audience. Priyanka?
Doing segregation even in terms of
subject. I mean, there are too many things involved. For instance, when we do a level 1 book in English, then it's pretty easy. You use simple words and you use short sentences. You avoid punctuations as far as possible. So we've been told during our pre-testing that if you put open quotes, close quotes and a comma and all that, it sort of confuses the reader, the very young reader or the very beginner reader. If we were to do it as a read aloud book, then naturally quotation marks and punctuation do add flavor, do add value to the book, right? So you're asking whether we do that segregation? We don't do it. We don't segregate them as this is a read aloud book or this is a beginner book and all that. But when we say level 1 book, it means that the punctuation is the minimum possible, that the words are as simple as possible, and the problem, of course, which we've already addressed, is that when you try to do it in another language, it doesn't sit well. So we had a problem with, I'll tell you this very simple thing. I try to sleep. In English, very easy. How do you say try in Kannada? Or Hindi, kaise bolte? Koshish isn't it a difficult word? But try another word. Prayas for a level 1 child is really bad. So we did something. I mean, we did do something. We had to put that word because we'd already sold that idea of a book to RT. We had to publish it, and we did it as a bilingual, so it had to go. And finally, we did put that word. We put prayatna, I think, and in Kannada, prayatna is so big. मुझे नींद आ रही है लेकिन जो बाइलिंगुअल में करना I try to sleep
इसीलिए जो अभी जैसे भी बोल रहे थे कि आप ट्रांसलेशन
नहीं कर सकते तो हम लोग जब ट्रांसलेट करते हैं बुक को in 2 different languages, then we do this. We change the sentence, we say it in a way that is more comfortable for that language. लेकिन जब बाइलिंगुअल बनाते हैं तो एक लाइन इंग्लिश में होता है और एक लाइन हिंदी या कन्नड़ा या तमिल में होता है. So that has to be the same and it becomes very difficult.
I just wanted to add that, it's not just reading levels across languages that are difficult, but also the fact that reading comprehension and listening comprehension levels are at very different levels. So when you say level 1, what does that mean? You're really assuming that the child is picking up the book and trying to read it.
Yes.
On the other hand, a level 4 book could be read aloud with ease to a level 1, quote-unquote, reader. So we really have to be careful to distinguish between books that you expect children to read by themselves versus books that you read aloud to children in some way or you do a shared reading with. So, yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
we, if I may
Yes.
add quickly, very quickly, I won't take time, we don't have that. And for a while we had tried the read alone and read it out system that is prevalent in the West as well. We give it up because it's impossible. We feel it's really, really impossible to categorize like that.
Exactly.
So we just come back to 3 class, 4 class, like it's 3 and upwards. And that is, the 3 class is the read aloud, not read alone level. So we follow the categorization that we do because we have to give some categorization for even CBSE wants it, Room to Read wants it, everyone wants it, even parents want it. But it is the read aloud level that we take as grades. And then it's up to the child, the book is
Yes.
Lots of hands I can see. We try to balance different kinds of material in our library. So we have to categorize certain things, and we are categorizing on the basis of sentences and words, knowing very well that this is not the perfect system, that you can have a text with few lines and which may not be comprehensible because of lots of inferences are there, lots of inferences to make. But we are trying to do these things just for putting varieties of material in the classroom. Second thing, when we develop material, we just look for words, and I am talking about Hindi only, which is easily decodable and semantically not so challenging. So if you get certain word which is easily decodable as well as semantically not challenging, these are golden words for children literature and beginner readers. But you don't find so many words like that. Like say, if you say Rath Pad Chad, this is easily decodable but semantically very challenging. Badh Mat Kar, This is really decodable, but semantically challenging. If you say cricket is difficult in terms of decoding, but semantically it's easier. So actually when we edit text, lots of challenges you face, and sometimes you just see two sentences and there are lots of gap where a reader needs to infer. So what to do this? But these are regular challenges which any editor faces, I mean, in any language.
Thank you. I don't know your name, but yeah. Saumya.
No, we have, for little children in Hindi, we have, the one on top of the head is Very Bahadur series, which we have 5 books. With the same character, same set of characters, they're animal characters. I was talking about Shanmugam, etc. They're all coming back. Shanmugam, Kamalayan, Bahadur, Yudhiri, it's called Baby Bahadur series. That's one we have.
Sringeri. Srinivas Sringeri. Srinivas. So there are 3 books. Same characters, but in building.
Tum books. There's Tum Thumpidi and Tum Thumpidi. These 2 characters. Tum would be beginner readers, absolute beginner readers. Bahadur,
Well, even Aditi can be read. Aditi can be read like 8, 9, 10 can be read. Yeah.
But these are for little kids. Tum is for very little kids. So, when very little texts, these are the absolute, they're produced for beginner reading. So, yeah, Tum could be readable of their own. We have the Aditi series in that, which is 8 class. But depends on if a child is proficient in 7 class would be okay. But these are very rough categorizations of age. Very difficult to come to. We're always talking in the office, saying why 5 class, why not 4 class, why not 6 class. Everyone has a different take on it. So. It is a challenge because you need an author who can consistently produce so many good books. It has to work.
And also the economics. Children's literature is just coming up. We're all struggling to, find readers, to find markets, to get people to read and buy more. They're reading, but they're not buying. So to create a series, you require 10 books. Like Harry Potter series, everyone's buying them. We're wanting to be in that region soon. But we're just taking our baby steps. I think children's literature is just...
It's just the beginning. There's ways to go. We have ways to go, and we'll all sort of work together to make it go wherever we need it to go. Yes. Yeah.
But I agree with you, we have very few.
Yeah. Nan?
How we can align the content area with different subject area like math, science, and what I have experienced is like teacher has very different concepts.
So I just want... Huh? Yeah.
No, I mean, you asked for it, so... No. Yeah. Is it English? Happy math.
See, there are other people too in the world who pull out books
Yeah.
every now and then.
This is Happy Math. You can read it. This is Happy Math. It's a series that I wrote. And in fact, this is the first thing I did when I came into the book.
One of my favorite series, I wonder if you've seen it, is in the Western, this thing is Circumference. Have you seen, are you aware of that? So it's circumference. So it's a circumference to teach maths, you know, so the adventures of circumference.
तो था कि जैसे लोगों ने कुछ किताबें पढ़ी इसमें हम कहते नहीं कि वो क्या सिखाया जा रहा है जैसे गणित के लिए पर आप देखेंगे ओरिगामी की 2 किताबें हैं यहाँ पे जिसमें कागज को फोल्ड करके कुछ खिलौना बनाने की बात है लेकिन उसके पीछे सोच गणित की जिसमें हो सकता है कि जो आप नोट देंगे टीचर्स के लिए उसमें आप पढ़ेंगे तो लगेगा कि इसमें गणित सिखाया जा रहा है लेकिन बच्चे को गणित का कहीं शब्द नहीं लाया जा रहा तो मुझे लग रहा है कि कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जो वो कहती नहीं है लेकिन आप उनको देखेंगे तो वो काम वही उसी ढंग से करती है जैसे एक किताब है नाना नानी हमारे आप देखेंगे नाना नानी जो है वो ऊंचाई के कॉन्सेप्ट में बहुत अच्छे से डील करती है ऊंचाई के कॉन्सेप्ट को कि वो नाना और नानी के बीच में कंपटीशन चल रहा है कि कौन किस चीज पे बैठ के ऊंचा हो सकता है तो कभी नानी जो है घोड़े पे बैठ रही है तो नाना हाथी पे बैठ गए तो नानी जो है ऊंट पे बैठ गई इस ढंग का उनके बीच में कंपटीशन चल रहा है बहुत छोटी सी किताब है लेकिन इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि जब आप टीचर के ऊपर बहुत डिपेंड करता है कि कैसे सब की चर्चा को छेड़ रहा है जब ऊंचाई का कॉन्सेप्ट होता है तो फिर जो वो बच्चे जब करते हैं उस किताब को पढ़ते हैं तो नानी घोड़े पे चढ़ी है और यदि मान लो नाना हाथी पे गए हैं तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बच्चा जो है घोड़े के बाद हाथी पे ले जाएगा तो 4 और चीजों को ढूंढ लेगा जो उसके बीच की कहीं है तो मुझे लग रहा है वो एक चीज है जो कॉन्सेप्ट को मतलब सीधे नहीं लेके आती लेकिन उन किताबों के साथ जब आप खेलते हैं जब कुछ गतिविधियां होती हैं क्लासरूम में तो वो उस रूप में और न केवल क्लासरूम में ऐसे भी बच्चे जब मस्ती से किताब पढ़ते हैं और देखते हैं तो वो गुनगुनाते रहते हैं जैसे वो राम क्यों जी बेटा राम साहब वो बच्चे अपना खुद का करते हैं
Yeah, that's why we're having this. That's why we're having this event. Wait, she's been raising her hand for a long time.
I came to know about the concept of bilingual book today, and I'm very interested nowadays because it reminds me of my dad's example. He studied in Hindi medium, and then he needed to learn English for a job and to go abroad and study. He only the way I learned it is I read a novel Hindi में मैंने पढ़ा, फिर English में पढ़ा, and that's how I learned English. I learned English.
We had foreigners writing to us and buying our bilingual books. They grown ups. They coming to India for the first time, want to learn Hindi. They're buying our bilingual books and learning. And
The
reading.
reception is good. Excellent.
Excellent.
There was more.
Yeah, when we started with, okay, it's interesting. Parul will have an interesting story to tell about our bilingual books. But that apart, I mean, a lot of NGOs take our bilingual books because we pitch them for language learning. It's very, very difficult to bilingually translate, so it's almost literal without sounding stilted. So what works best is concepts, very simple concepts, so we don't get into descriptions too much of it. But I mean, these are very large, very general guidelines, but a lot of work goes into it. And after all of that, Parul tells me that when they use the bilingual books in the field, some of them, I mean, this is what India is about. In the interior areas where they go and they work, she says they can't even read one language, what if they're going to read 2 languages? That is the state that we are in. So, but those children apart, bilingual books are really, really catching on. There are, especially a lot of NRI parents. They love it because they're so hankering after their children. Yeah, Indian is their children not losing touch and learning the language. And we think it's a great way to learn the language.
Is it also pitched?
Yes.
Yes,
it is.
Yes, they are language learners without doubt. Which is why sometimes the criticism is that in Hindi, if you kuch theek nahi lag raha hai, because it is a little stilted.
run well over time, and I really want the panelists to, sort of get a break. But you know what? If you have more questions that were not taken up here, why don't you send them to me? I'll put them together and send them on and get responses for you. Okay? And also, these are the publishers, but Geeta's organization does a lot, like Room to Read, with taking the books that the publishers put out and getting people to use it, schools and libraries.
Yes, dying to ask you a question.
You're dying to ask you a question. After the second, yes. so tomorrow she's going to be showing you one way in which you can sort of take them, because it's not enough to have great books, you also need to know how to use them. So tomorrow we're going to take one tiny look at how to use books well in the classroom. Thank you all. Thank you.